Alright, ladies and gentlemen, fans of Dragon Ball, we are back with another episode of Investibles. My name is Ryan, and we don't just talk about market data here, but focus on the why behind the buy, looking at buyer behavior, and can we position ourselves early to realize the most amount of upside in our investment/collection. And today, we are going over why the crash of Dragon Ball has not happened. So many anticipated it was going to pump and it was going to fall, but here we are going strong. And why is that? And what is coming up in the future? Today, we're going to be looking at all the middle milestones that are coming up, what started it all, and then going over some sealed boxes. We're going to put the slabs, singles, all of that to the side and have a look at what has been going on in that space. Just remember, the Discord is free. We are running it in there, having some great conversations. So if you want to join, all you got to do is go to the link in the description of my YouTube, join, pop in the DM, say hi, and start sharing what has been going on for you in your journey. Now, let's absolutely rip in to this episode and what is going on. Here we are. We are in the thrust of the most amazing time in Dragon Ball, the return of the anime at the end of the year. The pump is well and truly happening. People loving it. I'm loving it. And I want to discuss, what do I think the direction of Dragon Ball is moving forward? Why do I have so much optimism in what's going on? Why am I still buying stuff at the current prices, still grading manga, looking at this, looking at that? Ryan, isn't it going to drop? Are we in a bubble? This growth is too fast. I don't know, Let's have a look. Let's just have an objective look at what is going on, what is coming up, and see if we can build our confidence in a way that helps shape our understanding better so we can make confident decisions with our money into cardboard in the future. Now, this video right here, this is a very special video. This is what truly kicked things off 4 months ago alongside the 40th anniversary. Now, this is the 40th anniversary special video. It is absolutely stunning. I'll play it without audio just briefly and we'll skip through to some scenes because I highly recommend that anyone, if they haven't seen it, you should absolutely watch it. It's a beautiful animated video, obviously dedicated towards Akira Toriyama. Now, it gives me the chills. And this was actually, the audio in this was done by Hans Zimmer. So it is just phenomenal. It's emotional, as you can see. It goes through the start of, Goku's father, mum, growing up. It's just really beautiful. And as we skip forward, look, he's in the bubble. It's so cute, dude. Bardock, just looking fierce. And if we go through, we're just going to skip through because I don't have 5 minutes to show you it all. And there is audio to go with it. I wasn't going to edit it in. It was a little bit more complicated, but you can just see some of these screens here. Like it's well worth a watch. I always like to go back to the start of things than what really started, what really created that hype of interest. And it was connecting back to the original Dragon Ball anime. Growing up, seeing it as a kid, and just being in awe. Vegeta, Goku, and the animation even now still stands the test of time. It is so pleasant to watch. I see these scenes, it takes me back to what I was doing at the time when I started to get into it. And like I said, I get goosebumps all over. It makes me emotional. I feel for the journey, what has gone on. And that is really a huge factor in what is going to drive this whole IP continually forward more and more and more. Just like Pokemon has connected with so many people, Dragon Ball has touched a lot of people as well. So just stunning. Really recommend you view it. Now, moving forward, right? So what is going on? We've just had the 40th anniversary 4 months ago. We've gone through this parabolic boom in terms of manga cards, serialized, high worth value stuff, left, right, and center. Is there room to grow? So here we go. We're going over to this title right here, and it says Toei Animation announces a 10-year plan, teasing its ambitious $450 million expansion. If you don't know, Toei Animation is the studio that does Dragon Ball, and there is going to be a Dragon Ball Super remake, and then new Dragon Ball Super after that. And so Toei Animation is planning something very big. Over 10 years, it involves roughly $450 million of investment and will be major changes to the studio. So they are not only beefing up their main studio, but they're looking on to create multiple other studios for new ideas as well. What does this mean? This could mean many things, because this isn't just related to 450 million is getting pumped into Dragon Ball, which you see in the thumbnail and the title. There's a little bit more. There's a little bit more to it here. But what this should signal to you is that confidence from investors, from the board, the company, the business, are seeing the potential in everything that is going on right now in terms of TCGs, animes, stuff that has an emotional tie to people who watched it in the past, are coming back now, older, with money, with that nostalgia and emotion, and wanting to dive back into this world. And it does. It presents a very beautiful time, I feel, for me, when I look back at when I was watching Dragon Ball. The feelings, it's hard to place a word on it. It was so much more of an innocent time, a simpler time when you're growing up. You don't have the pressures of life, bills, family, all, it becomes more complex. And so sometimes I find that, when you go back to watching these animes and reconnecting with that source material, you're also reconnecting with that part of yourself that was back there, that simpler, just kind of worry-free. Well, that's at least how I felt anyway. I know not everyone probably felt that way and had different things going on, but that's why it's powerful to me. So 450 million, Toei Animation. It's a big deal, and this article talks about just how the next era of Dragon Ball should be extremely exciting. They're not planning to go small here. They are going to go absolutely massive in terms of what they want to do with it, marketing, media, and absolutely everything under the sun. Now, moving forward, here we go. TCG equity. Corey, thank you for this. He's always good with the numbers. I like this guy. So here we go. Bandai Financial Report updated May 13th, 2026. Bandai is projecting Dragon Ball to surpass One Piece global revenue for 2027. This is huge. Yes, that is huge. Absolutely. And here you go, right? Dragon Ball, 160 billion yen in revenue. One Piece, 140. I always love that you have to circle both. Don't worry, we don't need to pit TCGs against each other, because Gundam's here doing 240, but that is because they are their own, in-house IP. Bandai doesn't have to share anything with anyone, so take that number with what it is. But still, it's going to be huge. That's a lot of money, and if Bandai is forecasting that their revenue is going to exceed where One Piece is at moving forward in 2027, then, it's a forecast, but these guys are professionals. This is a professional business that makes billions of dollars. They're not just going to put these numbers out there as a joke. They are getting serious about what is going on. And, One Piece has been the most beautiful test of this new formula that Bandai has come up with in terms of how they're going to push cards, push value. They're not going to print an excessive amount. They're focusing on big box value to drive the secondary market forward, which then brings a lot of speculators, investors into the space wanting to hold that sealed product, because we've seen over this 30-year time span that holding Pokemon over a long period of time has yielded amazing results, and people are very compelled by money in all sorts of ways. I am no different. And so people are going to want to jump in. They're going to want to hold something that they connect to, whether it be Pokemon, Dragon Ball, One Piece, Naruto coming up. And they are going to want to hold stuff as both like a tangible, physical asset. And I think this is a big thing moving forward, right? And I'm just going to try and go on a little bit of a short rant here, that as we move into more and more of the digital age, Everything's becoming digitized. We're on the screen, this, that, and the other. I feel like the contrast between the digital world and the analog world, and let's call the analog world the physical presence of items, say holding things like this. It's far easier to get excited over buying something physical and holding it and going, oh, you know what, has the potential to be a store of value and appreciate into the future, versus, say, the fully digital market, which is shares, stocks, bonds, all of those kind of things. It becomes hard to relate to them. There's not, there really isn't a lot of emotion involved, and neither should there be. But when it comes to cards, our favorite IPs that we grew up with, there is that emotion. And there is also, when it comes to Pokemon, a track record of it outperforming the share market. And so I feel in this age and moving forward, as we get pushed more and more into the depths of this digital AI, just all-encompassing future, that physical items are now becoming something that feels good. It feels good to hold something and go, oh, like I get to both enjoy it here right now. I've bought this box and it has the potential to do well in terms of an investment in the future. It's really a double whammy, in my opinion. I think a lot of people are connecting more and more to that, wanting to get outside of the boring. And when we look at why is that, why are people, buying all these things? Cost of living has gone up astronomically. The dream of owning your own home in a lot of places has become far out of reach. And so there's people who are both trying to escape the current reality, buying boxes, buying cards, opening them to potentially avoid those current feelings and immerse themselves in something different, something fun, something lighthearted that took them back to that part of their childhood. Then there's also the speculators, investors who are going, you know what, I can't actually get ahead working my 9 to 5. The pressures are massive. The cost to buy a home, to build a deposit is huge. So, like, how am I going to do it? And so they get into a side hustle and they start looking at, well, maybe I can start buying and selling Pokemon, One Piece, Dragon Ball, all these kind of things. Maybe I can leverage my extra time to do something else meaningful that's going to help me move forward in life, improve the quality of it. So there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of reasons why all of this TCG boom is happening and how this on-flow effect is crossing over into all these different areas, from One Piece, Dragon Ball, etc. Now, moving forward to what is going on in terms of the anime. So look, fall remaster of Dragon Ball Super Beerus. There's meant to be 6 episodes. Now, this isn't the official Dragon Ball website, so we'll just take it with a grain of salt. I've tried to look at a bunch of stuff, but it's quite hard. Then we go into the remastered Frieza, fall 2026, the remaster of Universe 6, and then we get into Galactic Patrol, the new anime, late 2027. So we're really kicking things off early here. And this is the thing, right? We haven't even got the anime, guys. We haven't even got the anime. Like, you think things are crazy right now. Imagine when the anime comes out and these billion-dollar companies are pushing this media out there, this marketing machine, into everyone's faces. They're watching it and going, oh my God, we love it. We can't get enough. Oh, there's a TCG. I might look at that as well. More attention is growing. The ball is just snowballing down this mountain at an extremely fast rate. And this is why I have confidence. And this is why I'm parking money into this area from an investment standpoint, but also because I genuinely love the cards. I connect to them on an emotional level. Now, another thing, Lego. Lego is apparently going to be doing a full theme for 2027, including a big Lego Shenron. So, BrickTap, it's a Lego news, rumors, and reveal. So, once again, take this with a grain of salt, but I believe these guys are quite on top of it. And once again, this would not surprise me. We've seen the Pokemon collaboration. Dragon Ball is absolutely massive. I can see them doing a Lego set like what they're talking about here. Once again, now you're talking about getting Dragon Ball not only into the hands of adults through what's going on right now with what will be happening with the anime and with cards, and now you're moving on to Lego, where people who have kids who like Dragon Ball will start to probably buy the Lego figurine sets and give them to their kids. Their kids will start building Dragon Ball Lego and go, oh my God. Their parents show them. And then this nostalgia train, this growing up with something cycle happens all again. And this is exactly what they're trying to do. Pokemon, Dragon Ball, all these big companies understand how they have to influence the younger generation so that they create an emotional connection and then grow up with it as they get older like we have. And you can see the power of when these kids mature and they start to have money, what they can do in terms of generate profits for them in the future. One sec. Another very, very bullish sign, in my opinion, of what is to come and why we just aren't going to see a crash. I'm sorry, it ain't happening. You're just going to have to accept it. And if it does happen, I will happily be wrong. Now, here we go. Pack Battle. You may or may not have seen this guy. He has been an OG in the Dragon Ball space for longer than I even know, vending in America. And he just recently purchased this card right here. The gold E42 Black Label. It is a Pop 3. And why am I showing you this? I find this very interesting, right? He was the one who graded the first Black Label Namek Goku SCR 2-star. That sold on Golden, and that was really one of the big catalysts after the 40th anniversary that kicked off Dragon Ball Fusion Worlds. So, huge props to him. Great dude. I know I've never met him. I know nothing about him, but he seems like a quality character. Why am I showing you this sale? Well, how much confidence do you think it takes, or conviction in the future, to go ahead and buy a card that recently, just finished selling with buyer's premium? Not recently, it was like a month ago, I think, on Golden, and it sold for like 66,000 Australian. So that was about 45,000 USD, and I have seen someone going through the pages, the Facebook pages, trying to sell this card for about 54 USD. Now, I can imagine, right, that Pack Battle probably got somewhat of a better deal than any of us would ever get. Not that we can afford this card. On the Black Label, maybe there was some trade. Who knows behind the scenes? But what I'm saying is that this is not something he's buying as a quick flip, I don't feel. He's seen how much more interest and eyes have come onto Dragon Ball since that Namek Black Label sale. We saw the E42 on Golden, which once again pumped up the numbers, and now he's gone back and gone, you know what, let me secure the absolute grail of grails of Dragon Ball Fusion Worlds, and I dare say he's going to hold on to this for quite some time. If he's feeling that way about it and is going to drop some serious dollars, then that should give you confidence not to drop serious dollars, because he obviously knows a lot and probably has a lot more capital than all of us. But once again, for me, this is just a sign, something I noticed. Now, we've gone on a bit, 17 minutes. Holy dooly. Let's get into sealed boxes, booster boxes. There's been some changes. Some stuff is happening. Let's have a quick peep. We're going to blast through this. Now, SBO1, starting with the King of Kings. What has been happening here? $9.39, best offer on a Japanese box. Moving through here, 20 bids, $3,000 for this absolutely beat up with a baseball bat box. My goodness. That is a serious price for a box that just, even from this far away, looks like it's had a rough life. Moving down here to $39.29 or best offer. I had a look at this. This sold for $3,000. So really pretty similar. Whoever took this best offer, more power to you. But I believe it was, I won 30 pointed. I believe it was 3,000. It was 2,000 USD is what it came across. So it was about like 29 something. So practically sold for the same with an acrylic, an extremely crisp box. And then people went on to finish this auction and buy this heavily beat up box for this price. Moving down now, an Australian listing, once again, beautiful box, acrylic, $3,000. Seems to be the kind of standard price at the moment. Sales volume is still ticking over. And you know what? Sales volume is building on this. Price is staying relatively the same at that 3K mark, but I'm noticing more and more consistent sales on SPO1 than what I was previously. And this is one of those things where I've talked about is where you lock into an area and you put the blinders on and you just focus on what is going on. You learn it, you get to know the cycles, what people are doing. And I look at manga and booster boxes morning and afternoon for sales, and it really is helpful to be able to see what is going on in correlation to the interest growing in the hobby, and that allows me to make moves kind of ahead of time as I see those patterns. 13 bids, 27.45, moving down here, boom, 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 and then this huge sale, 20th of June, Gameology, 44.49. Now look, this is interesting. Whether this went through or not, I don't know, because that is a huge price to be paying. You could probably have bought a box with an actual picture, rather than this generic image for this price. I won 30 pointed it. It wasn't there. So I have this slight little tingle and suspicion that what has gone on is that someone has bought it and then maybe cancelled it immediately, and eBay is put that sold there. I'd love to be wrong. Someone tell me if that's what you bought the box for, then let me know. But I haven't seen it on 130 points so far. So I'm just going to take it as a pump sale that got cancelled. They're trying to put it into solds to kind of make it seem like it's worth more than it is right now. SBO2, what is happening? 1567. We're in just this kind of little wiggle period. We're jumping between 1400 to 1600 is kind of our zone at the moment with SBO2. Once again, a decent amount of volume, just churning over a little bit each day. Nothing massive, but just steady. And prices are steady too, at around about that $1,400 mark. A little bit less on the best offers. People trying to move their boxes, take profit. Completely understandable. It's an expensive box. A lot of people bought low. But once again, you've got people with lower conviction who are going to be selling into these people buying at current prices with higher conviction. And what are they going to do? They are going to hold those boxes. Moving on now, FBO1, the start of it all, Awaken Pulse. What's going on here? Look, it's been sitting at around about the same price for a while, 600. We've got some lower best offers that are kind of happening. Nothing magical, but once again, we're just seeing a few sales or a sale each day, 500. Nothing particularly spectacular here. Do I love FBO1? Not really. None of the cards really speak to me. But Dragon Ball has many cards that you really have to see them in person to appreciate them fully. So we shall see if it grows on me. I can't see myself buying one. If I don't love it, I'm not placing money there, no matter what potential gains it's going to get. And now to this box. FBO7. Wish for Shenron. And this is coming up. Prices are slowly growing on this. It has been, if we go all the way back, look, May, 20th of May, we were at Buy It Now, 400. We're creeping all the way through here, Buy It Now, 377, Buy It Now, 500. Moving up. Where's the next Buy It Now? We've got offers sitting at that 500. Japanese, 200. Moving up to, where is it? And now we get to Buy It Now of 596. A little bit further into the future, which is literally all of 2 days ago. And then we go up to 627 best offer. I can imagine it's a little bit less than that, maybe 550. I think this box here could replace FBO1 in terms of being expensive. I think with the recent release of what people are calling the Sleepy Gohan, I think people are going to come back to Wish for Shenron as people are drawing this kind of parallel between Sleepy Goku, Sleepy Gohan. We know that this card right here, a lot of people love it. It saw a huge pump, a drop. I think people are going to keep coming back to it. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this jumps into one of our slots for the top 3 most expensive boxes of Fusion World outside of manga. So at the moment, we've got FBO1, we've got Rivals Clash, and we have FBO9 Dual Evolution. I can almost see Wish for Shenron overtaking FBO1, I'll be honest. I think I really like the box. I probably prefer the box art more than I do the FBO1 box art because we don't have another Shenron on the box. And Shenron's mad. Moving on to Rivals Clash. This is the most expensive box in Fusion World outside of manga. Buy it now for $7.50. What has been going on here? Not a lot, because there's not a lot of sales. It's an expensive box. I can't see people really wanting to rip this that much. The 2-star in it is exceptional, the best Broly card. And, you know, prices here are just solid. I haven't seen them go up drastically, and I haven't seen them fall. But $7.50 seems to be the kind of general price right now people are buying the boxes at. Broly, all green. It's an intense box. Moving forward to Dual Evolution. This is our second most expensive box behind FBO7 Rivals Clash. Now, what are we seeing here? Look, buy it now. $7.05 for a crisp box. And actually interesting, you probably noticed that I don't have my FBO9 box here because I sold my FBO9 box. Why did you sell it, man? Because I wanted the Gold Leader Freezer for a sequential SBO1 to Gold Leader set that I'm doing, that I'm going to submit to Beckett. So we made a trade where I gave my box, he gave me the freezer, and I got some cash on top, which is going to help me be able to pay for that sub and make some more moves. $7.05, I believe that's an all-time high, and I understand. It was quite a short printed set with an absolute lot of interest. 3 2-stars SCRs, then you got 2 2-star leaders. Absolutely stacked box. The value in it is just massive. So I understand why this is going up. It should be kind of at this price. And Rivals Clash is just above it. So my kind of pick is that Wish for Shenron comes up. Dual Evolution raises the floor to around about that $700 mark. And Rivals Clash, well, I think, you know, it could get overtaken by FBO9. I think any set that's a little bit further ahead in the order is going to gain a little bit more interest. The Gogetas are exceptional, but we are just going to have to see. But that's my pick. I think eventually FBO9 overtakes Rivals Clash, and we're looking at FBO9, Rivals Clash, and then I think Wish for Shenron is going to take the third spot, overtaking FBO1. So that's just my little speculative opinion there. Moving on to FB10. Before we round this out, looking at the last reveals of ST01 that we've seen so far, which are just so good, dudes. What has been going on here? Look, 340 best offer. We're seeing the price drop a little bit more every now and again on this box. A lot of best offers, a lot of boxes selling. As you can see, we're still on the 22nd of June, just there. 21st of June. Buy it now, $4.80. But we still see boxes that selling for more. So we're in this kind of wiggle period, right, where there's still a lot of interest, a lot of demand, but then there's also people who are wanting to sell their boxes a little bit faster. So I reckon give it another week, and we're just going to, as we go deeper and deeper, we're going to see where prices settle, and we'll keep on top of that. Moving on over to TCG Player, what is happening? Let's go into our 1 month chart, and you can see that it's showing that it's just on the way down here. So 296 all the way down to where we are at here, 11 items sold. And what have we sold for the month? Total is 414. We have to take our cursor off this damn chart to actually be able to see it. And this is very much mimicking FBO9, where we saw that high pre-sale price. It's dropping down. Volume is selling. Then all of a sudden, demand outplaces supply and prices start to escalate. So I'd be keeping an eye on this graph. And if you're someone who likes FB10 and you're thinking, well, how much lower is this going to go? When should I buy? I would keep an eye on these graphs, an eye on the sales volume, and just see what is going on here. Because eventually, yes, this stuff will be ripped. there won't be a lot more of it, and it will start to climb back up. That is just inevitable. How high it will climb and when, that is the unknown factor. You need to do your own research and not just take my word for it. Is it a set I'm allocating money into? No, I do not love the set. I do not really like much about it. To me, it's a mid set, but it also appeals to a lot of people. I completely understand if you resonate with the cards. I do not, so I'm just not placing money in it. I don't have that same level of confidence, which some of you may have. Now, rounding it out, baby, here we go. Oh my God. The rare one stars. We've got the Sun Goten, Evil Margin Buu, and Margin Vegeta. God, you know what? 2-star Margin Vegeta. It's got to happen. And these cards go hard. I really like them. I think it's just a great addition to the set. They look exceptional. I love the cohesive kind of lines, the intensity of the background. They always do this so well in Dragon Ball, is putting a character in that kind of fired up position in the background. But generally everything about these cards, I think they've done well. They haven't over-edited it. But that Margin Vegeta, man, he is just shredded to the gills, dude. So yeah, that's it from me. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. Let me know what's going on for you. Don't forget to join the Discord, and I will see you in the next episode.